What does being authentic look like in the world today? What influence does the world around us play in your self-expression? How can you find the freedom to be yourself, to be who you are rather than who you think you're supposed to be? These are questions I explored in a group call last week. It's a discussion full of insight, and I wanted to share a section of it with you here. So we joined the conversation at the end of a section where we were discussing Maggie's frustrating attempts to follow various marketing guru systems only to find that they don't work for her. Now that leads us into the topic of how often process work is misused to try to make ourselves something we're not, but believe we should be, and how our internal narrative impacts our state of being. And this is where we start diving deeply into the topic of finding authenticity and having the freedom to be you. We explore Maggie's inner wrangling around how she shows up in the world, on social media and in her writing, covering gems on being authentic that can help anyone facing the challenges of societal ideals versus their true expression. And we finish up with an investigation on the back of a question Chris asked himself, and explore the difference between helpful and unhelpful questions to ask yourself when you're exploring your authenticity. Now, as ever, you can find the show notes for today's episode at www.beabrillianthuman.com and add /148 for this episode. So get yourself comfortable and let's dive in. Welcome to the Be a Brilliant Human podcast with me, Joel Young. If you're looking to improve your life, to heal, to grow, and mature as an individual, but maybe you found that some of the personal development and consciousness stuff has given you the impression that you need to be super serious and vigilant to get anywhere meaningful, or feeling like maybe you're just not up to snuff, well, this show is here to remind you of your humanity, and in fact that's where your true joy and brilliance lies. With over 25 years of experience in the transformation biz and having developed MPA, one of the world's simplest, pressure-free approaches to growth and well-being, if I do say so myself, I'll be sharing tips, steps, and insights that'll help you navigate all the aspects of life as a growth-seeking being. On this show, it comes to you with a good dose of humour, maybe a smattering of colourful language, a reminder not to take things so personally, and most importantly, to be kind to yourself along the way. Make sure you hit that follow button, and let's get into it. So it really is setting up that sort of the thing that's it's got to work for you. It's got to work with. It's like so much of what we do is say, "Well, I need to fit the system."
Yeah,
it doesn't work, and you can't process yourself in order to make you be who you're not.
Oh, you bastard! I've gone mute.
yeah.
Oh.
It's so true, Joel. I don't know what's Chris doing.
Go on. No, I've got something to say in this. Go on.
But I think your reaction there, Chris, was to you can't process yourself into being who you're not.
Yeah, big time. I wanted to hypnotize myself into a trader so I could make shed loads on the foreign exchange. I made shed. Well, I didn't make shed loads. I made wheelbarrow loads in the computers till the technology went. Till they turned it off. Well, I was going to say idiots, but some of the new technology. I don't know. Some of the new technology. Anyway. People want fast changes, so they can't have that with the old. Anyway, so yeah, I thought, oh, I know. I'll change myself. Never did.
But people all the time will do process work to try and become something they think they're supposed to be. To me, that's I mean, innocently in a way, because they get told that's what they're supposed to be and they believe it and all the rest of it. And you know, I used to be part of that as well, but it's like now, it's like, where are you now? Can I help you join yourself where you are? Because then actually we're talking doing something real. Yeah. And then where does it actually want to go? Might not be where, it might be where you expect, but chances are it won't be. You know, because if you're suffering from chasing something you're not, then chances are what you think you want isn't what you really want. But It's all good.
It's all good. It's all good if you think it is, and it is all good if I think it is. There's no pain here. There's no medication. There's no. I live. It's just limitation. That's all. Or wanting.
I'm a really big fan of just auditing the stories that you tell yourself.
Okay, do I need to write them down? Because I forget them after I've spoken. Suppose I need to...
Yeah, you can write down whatever you want to write down.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah, no conflict there then, Joel. If you want to, you can.
Yeah, it feels good. Write it down. No, but with the story we tell ourselves, it's like, you can, like you just said it. It's like, tell yourself a story. I'm happy or I'm unsatisfied.
Yeah.
Take your pick.
Yeah.
And like with Maggie, with you sort of going, okay, I'm going to pretend not to worry. There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, nice.
So what's the point of worrying? Worrying in order to have things sorted so that you feel as good as you do when you pretend there's nothing to worry about. Oh, cut out the middleman.
Oh. Oh. Haven't thought of it that way.
Chris, tell yourself that you ought to be a mega trader, make loads of money, because when you make loads of money, you can feel just like you feel when you say, actually, I'm all right.
I'm glad you're recording all this, Joel. This has been the best session ever. You said some proper diamond gems today. No, true. Like you say, Byron Katie, what's it brings stress or happiness?
It's that thing in that, does it cause you stress or peace? It's such a telling question.
Oh,
and the whole narrative thing is like, the fundamental, from my perspective, the fundamental thing is we haven't got a frigging clue what's happening anyway, and you never do. So it's all a story, right? It's all a story. So, as I often say, if you're going to have a story, you might as well have a good one. And to me, just my view, a good one is one that feels better than a one that doesn't.
I need to listen to your pivot point one, because that's, I think, well, that's I'm gonna beat myself up with that's not a nice story, is it? I need to listen to something.
Well,
I'd like to listen to it. There
you go. Isn't that feel better? I need to listen to it. Instant pressure. What does pressure create? Well, volcanoes ultimately, but it's like,
okay.
that won't suit your need for temperance.
I know.
That's not a win-win. But yeah, tell a different story. I'd like to.
Yeah, do you know what? The other thing is, I'm glad it's around as well, because it answers, like you said, it answers a question about people can't jump from one place to another.
The pivot point, isn't that a podcast you have too?
Yeah, it's episode 27. So beabrillianthuman.com/27. The unconditional pivot.
Is it a PDF? Is it that I got? Is it? You mean he's going to send a PDF? Is it, or what?
Yeah, if you if that URL,
yeah,
will get you to the podcast episode, so you can listen to it. It's quite good to listen to with the sheet.
Okay, cool.
Because I did it as like a mini workshop, that one. But on the show notes, there's a button that will take you through to the page where you can download the sheet.
Cool.
And grab that.
For a fee?
No, it's free.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the other thing I'm noticing is like all the pressure, at least, what can I say? That you have to be healed to have clients or be a leader or whatever. I'm following a guy that doesn't follow that at all. And I'm noticing, like you say, he just gets on and he may have a theme in mind, but he has no script. And he just talks, and he's very open and vulnerable. And I notice people are really responding to that. Like he'll even cry if he, online if it comes. And then it occurred to me, I think that's one of my issues. I don't know if I could be that vulnerable. And on, I mean, he's got lots of followers, so he's being like super vulnerable. And
here's the thing. Well, firstly, you're following two people who don't believe you have to have all your shit sorted in order to help people. Because hello,
I knew that, Joel. but there's lots out there that the high pressure marketing, and you got to have your act together and all that stuff.
Yeah. So there's two things. So you're liking what you're seeing with him, and obviously lots of people do. That makes sense to me because I imagine he's being himself.
Yeah.
Then the leap into unhelpful territory is that's what authenticity looks like. Because then you're going, then his version of authenticity, you try to become that on some subtle level, or you make that the gold standard.
Yeah.
But that instantly takes you away from going, what's my natural way of being? Like you say, for you, it might not be very natural to be all blubby on a big call.
Well, he talks about how he cries all the time. And I thought, geez, I haven't cried in years.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with him, and there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
The fact that the two things aren't, that's the whole thing with our society. It's like, because someone popular expresses themselves in a certain way, that's how everyone else is supposed to do it. It's bullshit. Yeah. It's like the realness is what's true for me. And if you start doing group work, for example, and it doesn't feel natural for you to go into that sensitivity in a way that means you cry, then why try or think you should? Just be you, which might be more controlled, or might be more mind focused. You come through the shape of 5, so it's like it's going to make sense. And who's that going to appeal to a lot? Probably a lot of 5s and 9s, and the occasional wanting to be reformed 4 who recognizes that they could do with some sobriety in their life. And wants to have a demonstration of that. The point is like, when you let yourself be you, and it's not about saying, well, that's who I am, so that's who I'm going to stay. It's like, I'm going to meet myself and be myself, and that might evolve, or it might not. Actually, I don't care. I'm open to wherever it goes, but I'm not going to have an agenda around becoming something, which is very different, by the way, from saying I'd really love, or I'm excited by the idea of stretching in that direction and seeing what happens. That's a very different energy. Because I'll do that. I go, I really fancy stretching into that. And sometimes it's like, oh, that was great. And I really am becoming that. And sometimes it's like, well, that was pants. So I'll drop it. That's self-discovery. It's like, oh, I noticed an inspiration to go in that direction. Oh, well, that was not a very good inspiration, but that's all right.
No, that's a good point. I think what the people are responding to is that he's authentic. And so, whatever he is. And so good point. And I mean, I think I'm struggling with that. Like, who am I? I mean, like Chris just threw out that tagline, which is really, I'm trying to think of how would I even word something on Substack, and am I trying to be me, or what the marketers would think? Like, I don't know. It's one of my issues, I guess. It's the wording, and how you put yourself out there.
So Substack, is that like a social media platform of some kind, or I haven't heard that?
It's a place for writers to go, actually, but a lot of them that are in, say, the freedom movement, or non-conventional, non-societal route of things right now, go there because they're not censored. Although I do follow one person that got deplatformed, but usually you can get on there and say what you feel, or a lot of it's research, but I think there is a philosophy, spiritual, theme that you can that I could tie into, and then just, write any weird stuff I felt like.
Is it written or video or?
It's written. And then you can do free, like you start with free subscriptions. And then if you get a following, you can start like a monthly donation from like $5 to whatever, if they like your writing. And I don't even know if I want to write, but I don't know why I feel so confined by, WordPress and MailChimp. And I guess I just, like you say, I want a place where I can just be myself. And I don't know how to categorize that. I know I can be weird. And I just want to say what I think, I don't want to get into all the ranting and raving about the world. I mean, it may come in at some point, just in the odd comment, but yeah, I don't know, Joel.
Well, the trouble is, it's ridiculously simple. Like, okay, so from what I know of you and what we've talked about, one thing you like to do is to go and watch the deer sitting in your garden.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have thoughts while you're there, which you could write down. So then the invitation to anyone who cares to read your stuff is to witness your experience of watching the deer.
Mm-hmm.
So you just write whatever comes to mind. So it's, Maggie in the wild, and then you get permission. I've got you some content creation. Oh my God, that means I need to go and sit my ass down in nature. That's a hardship.
Yeah.
And then one day you might go sitting there and nothing comes. So you get your pen out or your iPad or whatever you're writing on, and you go, I was sat in nature today and nothing came. Thank you very much. People will love that shit because it's the truth.
Yeah, I guess I'm overcomplicating. I could just do it on my MailChimp list for that matter and just do short little things without pressuring myself to do a blog, so to speak.
Yeah,
just whatever comes.
Don't try to be clever. Just be you.
Mm.
Which means because that's right. What does that mean? Is you don't have to be on. Well, your brand is you, Maggie in the Wild, or whatever you call it. Or just Maggie. This is Maggie. Because then you go, today's musing while sitting in the snow watching the rabbits. Here's my shopping list. Today's musing while sat in the thing. I had some thoughts on the existential nature of reality. Here's my music. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you're that free, people will get it, that it's almost, they'll probably love whatever the quirkiness of you that you say, but they know it's you and they want to spend time with you. But of course, you don't have to have them sitting in the garden with you, although a bit like Forrest Gump, you might end up with people coming to your house at some point. Not want to scare you here, but can I sit and watch nature with you? No. God, you're great, Maggie. Yeah, there's a hotel up the road. I'll see you in the morning. That'll be $600.
Well, it's funny. Musings is the word that came to me, and I mean, I can do it with what I have now and still join like Substack or something because they have a readership. You transfer your email list to them, and then you just see if you attract. But I'm probably overcomplicating. Yeah, just musings. Just sit down and write an email in MailChimp and send it off.
Musings is perfect because it's got alliteration, right? Maggie's Musings.
Yeah.
There you go. And you're just free. Just don't care. Put it out there. And one now and again, I don't know how that platform works, but now and again it might be like, well, I feel like sharing that or expanding on that, or so do. Yeah, that didn't go anywhere. It's like in that, it's like once a day or however you choose to do it, you have your musing, which can be a sentence, 5 sentences, an essay. It can be a half-baked, not completely formed idea. You can say at the end, well, that was half-baked and unformed. Hope you enjoyed it. that's that. It's like that. It fits because you don't have to think about it unless you want to.
Yeah.
And if you think about one, doesn't mean you have to think about the next one. Now you're free. And it will do what it will do.
Yeah, and I mean, I could even share some of my weird and wonderful processes or something because they're odd and they might, do you know what I mean? And then as long as I make a statement after, oh, what did you think of that? Or do you get anything out of this? You know?
Yeah, if you're genuinely curious what they think about it, then say you're curious. If you're saying, what did you think about it? Because you think that's what you're supposed to do to get comments, which gets engagements and suits the algorithm, then you step away from being.
Yeah, I see.
Because then it's like the power of the word, which has been sadly lost in our culture. The power of the word is only useful when people actually keep their word and are true. The power of the word is like if you say, I'm genuinely curious, and you mean it, and you don't always say it out of formula, then people feel the genuineness of it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you say it on formula, then once in a while it might connect. I mean, people will argue, well, you can't argue with the numbers, but we're in a society where a lot of people don't want the truth. They want the story. They want the glitz. And that's why people they don't last very long often, but they'll have all the glitz, tick the formula, do a good job. And people like the celebrity veneer of it. That's okay, you know. And in its own way, I suppose, for some people, it suits them for a time to be that person. Some people, of course, that's fully aligned, genuinely who they are. It's just that everyone else thinks they're supposed to be that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Formula or genuine. Because you can just end it with, well, I had fun on that trip or something like that without expecting any response at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, don't shy away from going, I also wondered what you thought about that. Let me know. Or not, you know.
Or not, yeah. Lots of ideas here. Thanks a lot, both of you.
What did you get from that little? I'm genuinely curious, Chris. What did you get from that?
So I can only agree with what Joel's saying. Like, so I wonder what I want to be. Is my response there, Joel? I wonder what I want to be.
Yeah. When you say I wonder what I want to be, is that along the lines of what I want to stretch into? Or
Well, I fell into computers.
Yeah.
Because my dad said I gave up too easy. My dad never knew about the computers. I used to spend loads of time at school because for some reason, well, they were interesting, weren't they? And I got proper good with them. And I said, I want to fix computers. And the bloke says, no, you're better than that. I said, okay. Then I went to work and I want to do COBOL. No, you're better than that. So I did assembler. So that's why I thought I'd become a trader. But you say to stretch into, no, up until today, I didn't want to stretch into anything. It's like, stretch. What do I want to stretch into?
So the question, what do I want to become? I think is how you.
Yeah, what do I want to become is what I said, and the answer is I ain't got a freaking clue. People go on about the abundance. It's like, you sit and wait. If I sit and wait, I vanish, which is a good thing, which is fantastic. Hours can go in seconds. Well, it's like in the ashram or in the cave. Oh, that's fantastic when that happens. So what I want to become? I want to become dead. Or whatever the word is. What do I want to become? I don't know. Well, I want to win the lottery and fuck off.
It sounds like the question is not bringing peace.
Oh, not at all, no.
So there's your clue. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's the wrong question.
Yeah, I'm a rocket scientist. That's the problem, isn't it? See, most people would get there. There's me trying to defend myself here. You are correct. What do I want to be causes me stress.
So it's a question that's not right.
That's a shit question, Joel.
Yeah, it's true. It's not meeting you where you are.
Yeah.
So then a helpful question is, what's the question that's going to meet me where I am?
Yeah.
And sit with that one for a moment. So what comes?
I want to be happy. I've already said I'm scared of being happy.
No, you said you're scared of heightened states of happy.
I did.
So
you're right. Yeah, so content is good.
Heightened states of happy.
I did say that.
So I wonder if there's an idea, because again, the assumption is there's something wrong with you. But what if the happy that makes you happy is happy enough? And you don't have to turn it up to 11 in order to prove that you have done your process work, or in order to prove that you're a worthy human being, or whatever the hell else some part of you or somebody else thinks that proves. Because again, the question always is with those things, well, what do you think that'll get you? Well, then I'll be happy. What kind of happy? Well, it's quite a chilled out, vibey kind of happy. Well, that one you've already got when you tell yourself you're happy. Yeah, that one. Okay. So maybe there's nothing wrong with you. And maybe you don't have to go to those heights. And maybe if those heights come along one day, you can go, oh, there's a height. That's interesting. I'll put my skis on, ski down that hill, and come back to just normal happy and go, well, that was a ride. It's not a big deal.
Oh, Joel. That's why I'm here today, isn't it? So I started off with I'm all right. Looks like I'll finish with I'm all right. Yeah, so I want to be happy, but like I say, not the high happy or the maniac happy. Just the contented happy, which is I got.
If that high happy comes along, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
But if it's a high happy that's really scary, then nah.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll stick with happy and see where that takes me. Because it's like, what if we really look at what you're saying, and this is, now I think about it, this is, you've come in so many times with this, I'm all right. I'm all right. And then there's a question that goes, well, maybe I'm not all right, so what's wrong with me? And what do I need to do? And where do I need to be in order to be all right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's realizing that you've already got what you want. And the question is, are you willing to let that be and see where that takes you, rather than getting distracted by some idea that there's something wrong with you?
Wow.
Thanks so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this show, I'd love you to do me a solid and tell someone about it. They can find us on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and most other podcast platforms. Plus, if you visit the website www.babrillianthuman.com, you can share the show notes to social media and make my day. Also, make sure you hit that follow button, and if you haven't yet downloaded the MPA process sheet, head on over to joelyoungmpa.com and get your free copy today. Big love, and see you next time.